September 28, 2025. Daily Bread. Passage. 2 Chronicles chapter 4 verse 1 through chapter 5 to 1. Key verse. Chapter 5 verse 1. Title: Solomon furnished the temple. He made an altar of bronze, 20 cubits long and 20 cubits wide and 10 cubits high. Then he made the sea of cast metal. It was round, 10 cubits from brim to brim, and 5 cubits high, and a line of 30 cubits measured its circumference. Under it were figures of gourds, for 10 cubits, compassing the sea all around. The gourds were in 2 rows, cast with it when it was cast. It stood on 12 oxen, 3 facing north, 3 facing west, 3 facing south, and 3 facing east. The sea was set on them, and all their rear parts were inward. Its thickness was a handbreadth, and its brim was made like the brim of a cup, like the flower of a lily. It held 3,000 baths. He also made 10 basins in which to wash, and set 5 on the south side, and 5 on the north side. In these they were to rinse off what was used for the burnt offering, and the sea was for the priests to wash in. And he made 10 golden lampstands as prescribed, and set them in the temple, 5 on the south side and 5 on the north. He also made 10 tables and placed them in the temple, 5 on the south side and 5 on the north. And he made 100 basins of gold. He made the court of the priests, and the great court, and doors for the court, and overlaid their doors with bronze. And he set the sea at the southeast corner of the house. Hiram also made the pots, the shovels, and the basins. So Hiram finished the work that he did for King Solomon on the house of God. The 2 pillars, the bowls, and the 2 capitals on the top of the pillars, and the 2 latticeworks to cover the 2 bowls of the capitals that were on the top of the pillars. And the 400 pomegranates for the 2 latticeworks, 2 rows of pomegranates for each latticework, to cover the 2 bowls of the capitals that were on the pillars. He made the stands also, and the basins on the stands, and the 1 sea, and the 12 oxen underneath it. The pots, the shovels, the forks, and all the equipment for these Hiram made of burnished bronze for King Solomon for the house of the Lord. In the plain of the Jordan the king cast them, in the clay ground between Succoth and Zereda. Solomon made all these things in great quantities, for the weight of the bronze was not sought. So Solomon made all the vessels that were in the house of God, the golden altar, the tables for the bread of the presence, the lampstands and their lamps of pure gold to burn before the inner sanctuary, as prescribed, the flowers, the lamps, and the tongs, of purest gold, the snuffers, basins, dishes for incense, and fire pans, of pure gold, and the sockets of the temple, for the inner doors to the most holy place, and for the doors of the nave of the temple were of gold. Thus all the work that Solomon did for the house of the Lord was finished. And Solomon brought in the things that David his father had dedicated, and stored the silver, the gold, and all the vessels in the treasuries of the house of God. Daily Bread Message. The detailed description of the temple furnishings in chapter 4 follows the instructions God gave to David, who handed them over to Solomon toward the end of his reign. David was not allowed to build the temple himself, but Solomon was to carry out the mission. Solomon understood the privilege of executing the plan. He carefully followed the instructions instead of applying his human wisdom. He honored God's instructions and obeyed concerning the floor plans and furnishing. The temple had essential features that signified it as God's dwelling place. There was an altar where his people could come to him for an atonement of their sins. The metal sea and wash basins signified the need for cleansing before God. The courtyard was reserved for the priests, who served as mediators, praying and offering sacrifices to God on behalf of his people. The magnificence of the building and furnishings signified the holiness of God. While no amount of gold or precious stone can replicate heaven, Solomon tried all he could to represent the greatness of God. Prayer. Father, thank you for dwelling among us through Jesus. Please help me honor you by bringing what is most precious to me. One word. Bring honor and glory to God.